Now that I've been living on the road full time for over half a year, I'm getting more and more comfortable camping in remote places for the full 14-day limit. And how I'm able to stay for those full 14 days is because of my solar system. So let's go over what I have. So up here on the roof, I have my 4 solar panels. These are my 180 watt solar panels, which give me a total of 720 watts between the 4 of them. Now, when it comes to my batteries, I made the decision to put them under my bed. Lithium batteries are safe to have inside as long as they have ventilation, which we added a fan under the bed to give it proper ventilation. It was pretty much either under my bed or in my pass-through storage, and there's too many outdoor gear and tools that I wanted to put in the pass-through, and I have so much storage inside that I didn't really need the under the bed storage, so I went ahead and put them there. Here under my bed, you'll see the Victron MultiPlus 3000 watt inverter, as well as my 3 100 amp hour battle-born lithium batteries. You'll also see the Victron shunt and distributor, but the one thing you won't see is my charge controller because that didn't fit under the bed with all these parts, so it's in my pass-through storage. The last piece of this solar puzzle is my touchscreen display that's right inside my door. I use this to monitor the power going out and the power coming in. So what can I run off my system? I can run my 12 volt Dometic fridge, I can run a hair straightener, I can run my Instant Pot, I can run my air fryer lid, I can run my SimpliSafe system, I can charge all my devices, and I can also use my air conditioner and electric water heater, but only those 2 for a limited period of time. My inverter is a 3000 watt inverter because that allows me to run whatever I want without overloading my system. So that means I can use my air conditioner as well as another electronic device that might take up a lot of power without overloading my system. So did I install my system myself? No. Do I completely understand my system? No. I tried so many times to understand exactly how a solar system works. I watched so many videos online, I read so many articles, and I just never got that final light bulb to click. I just couldn't figure out myself how much power, how much panels, how much batteries I would even need before you add things into play like a charge controller and a shunt and distributor. So I paid somebody to do it for me so they would do it right. Of course, this cost me a lot more money than it would have cost had I done it myself, but it seemed like there were so many places I could have done something wrong, and I just didn't want that to happen. Now, my solar setup gives me more than enough power. I'm very happy with the amount of power and the amount of panels that we decided to go with. It only takes me a few hours of really good sunlight to get back up to 100% after spending the evening and the night just consistently drawing power. Not only that, but if I run into a patch of cloudy days, I can usually go for about 3 days without getting any good charge on my panels, and I'll be absolutely fine and won't run out of power. There are things you can do to save extra power on those super cloudy days or when you get a string of cloudy days, things like turning off your inverter, but I really haven't experimented with that quite yet. I also currently do not have a generator. I am debating buying one for exploring places like the Pacific Northwest, but so far I haven't had to flee any spot because I've run out of battery power. You can also do things like install a DC to DC charger in your truck so you get a sufficient charge while you're driving. Both the part and installation of the part are a bit out of my price range right now, so I haven't gone with that option. And at least for now, being in the Southwest during the winter, on drive days, I get enough sun while I'm driving that I don't have to be pulling significant power from my truck's battery. Usually when I pull up to a spot, I'm at 100% anyway. So the sun does the work for me versus my truck battery. Now, there are things to be mindful of when you are relying only on a solar system, things like making sure to park in full sunlight. For example, when I was at City of Rocks State Park in New Mexico, I pulled up to a spot that had a tree that I didn't think was going to block the sun as much as it ended up blocking the sun. So I moved about 2 days into my stay there to a spot that had no trees at all. Another thing to think about is spring and fall in northern states. No matter where you are in the US, in the summertime, you're going to get plenty of sun as long as you don't have like a tree blocking you to fully charge your solar system. But as soon as the seasons start to shift and the sun starts getting a little bit lower in the sky and isn't as high in the sky for very long, you'll need to go south if you really want to just run off your solar system. I spent a few days here and there staying at Harvest Host properties in the Northeast when I was up there for fall last year, and most of those I was not plugged into power. So it was my first mini test of my solar system. That was in late September through early November, and even on completely sunny days, I was never hitting 100% on my batteries. And that's because the sun wasn't high enough, nor was it high enough for long enough. You also want to consider how frequently you're going to use appliances that pull a lot of power. So for me, I do most of my cooking on top of the stove, but I also do my air fryer or Instant Pot. But I'm usually only using that appliance for one meal versus all 3 meals. It usually only shaves off about 10% of my power while I'm using it, so I could use it for all 3 meals, but if you want to use it for all 3 meals, you have to make sure you have a system large enough to accommodate all that use. And any appliance that uses heat, whether that's a hairdryer, a hair straightener, a Instant Pot, an air fryer, those kinds of things will pull the most electricity. So limiting use of those items, especially on cloudy days, can help conserve your power. Thankfully, because of the size of my system, I really haven't had to limit those everyday luxuries that you think of, the hair straightener, the air fryer, all of those items. I will limit myself on those kinds of things when I see a patch of cloudy days ahead of me, but mostly I really don't even need to monitor my solar system. It charges so quickly. And I can use however much power I want, knowing that it will get up to 100% the next day. I'll usually check my battery power right before I go to bed, just more out of curiosity, and then somewhere the next morning I'll check in to see what kind of power I'm getting, and usually around noon or 1 o'clock I'm back up to 100%. Overall, I am so happy with my solar system. It allows me to stay in some amazing places that don't have a place to plug in my RV, and I'm not annoying neighbors with a noisy generator. That's no shame to people who can't afford a system like this. If a generator is the way to go to allow you to experience these kind of things, of course you should do that because you should get out there no matter what. But for me, the environmental impact, or rather the non-environmental impact of my system, is well worth the price of the installation to me. So thanks for watching while I broke down my solar system, and I'll see you on the next video.